I think a really, really significant part of Bruderhof is just how it like creates family. And more than that, it creates this like, almost like, I want to say unconditional love, kind of like God's love. Obviously we're human, it's not perfect. But just the fact that, like from my instance, from my point of view, like just the fact that if I come across someone who's a Bruder, I automatically know he's my brother. And that's not something that is taken lightly. So it's pretty incredible how pretty much just being a part of this floor automatically makes your family a lot bigger, your immediate family a lot bigger, which is pretty freaking significant.
It's been a lot of fun. Freshman year, when I was just a Bruder on the floor, it was weird because there was such a cool community. Like, it felt different from everywhere else on campus, but at the same time, there was still this divide between all of us. It was a tight-knit floor. We knew everyone, but it's also, we weren't eager to hang out with every single person on the floor, which is completely different from how it is this year, which I am so grateful for that. I tell everyone I know, like, God has really blessed me as the RA with such a wonderful floor where anyone at any time can really just go into someone's room, talk for who knows how long, from whether it be about video games, whether it be about theology, politics, whatever it could be. It's just a really cool experience to have, that comfort that you can get on this floor, at least this year. Last year was still a lot of fun, and I had a lot of friends. It was just more surface level than it was anything else.
My experience here has been great. It's been crazy. My dad's in the military, so I've moved around a lot. So like coming to a new place, not knowing anyone, something I've done, 7, 8 times now. So like that's nothing new. But you know, it's college. I'm gonna be with these people for 4 years, and in this case with the floor for a year. And so I don't know exactly what I was thinking was gonna happen, but I know that my expectations were beyond met.
Nice. Yo, A+ overall.
When I first got on it, people kind of knew what it was, but I didn't exactly know what Bruderhof meant. I just knew that it was a cool floor to be on. But now, sitting here close to the end of the year, I know it's a lot more than just a cool floor. It's a place where like everyone is extremely close. You have fun conversations, completely random conversations, but also deep conversations. You never know what to expect, but it's full of so much good stuff, and everyone is so close together. Yeah, I just feel so lucky because I know lots of floors aren't like that.
Well, I came to Messiah actually in 1998 as the dean. We had one dean at the time, so I heard of Bruderhof, and actually what I heard was that it was a unique floor and that there were a lot of maybe pranks associated with it and fun traditions. But when I became the provost then in 2000, I was able to have more student interaction, and then especially in 2004 when I became the president. And that's when I began to understand a lot more about the kind of connectedness that happens in Bruderhof, the kind of relationships that are developed. And I have found in traveling, because I meet with a lot of alumni, that there's a great sense of continuity among people who've been a part of Bruderhof. We have a trustee who was actually on that floor. We have faculty colleagues and lots of alumni. So I've come to realize what a really special tradition it is at Messiah.
So in the fall of 1975, when school began, in those days the residence halls were set up. There was a large lounge or common area. On either side of that lounge were about 10 rooms, and so the floor was made up of 40 to 45 guys. But anyways, in that whole process we started saying, well, we need some kind of a name. Jay McDermott had experienced something called the Hutterite community, which is a group of folks somewhat like the Amish, but they kind of isolate themselves from general culture. And they have some communities of intentional living primarily in Canada, but there was also one in western Pennsylvania just south of Pittsburgh, I believe. And those communities are called Bruderhof, which I believe is German for House of Brothers. And so we kicked around a whole bunch of names. Some were really goofy. But when Jay mentioned that one, it seemed to resonate with the guys. And so we selected that. So that was kind of the origin of the name Bruderhof, House of Brothers. I would say that was aspirational for us to become comrades.
So in 2005, in the spring of 2005, when the RA selection process was underway, I was encouraged to consider applying for being an RA, and I went through that process, and the RD at that time of Hess was able to take a chance on me and to give me an opportunity to be an RA. And so for that following year, myself and Derek Rosenberger were selected to be RAs for a first-year hall in Hess 3rd. It was the first time that Hess 3rd would be a male hall, and we were the RAs of that hall. And so during that summer, Derek and I were in correspondence back and forth about what we thought the year should look like and what would it be like. And he actually found an article from the Bridge about the Bruderhof from the late 70s. And so it was a relatively short article from what I remember, only a couple paragraphs, but it talked about how there was a hall of men that was created to support one another, to be together, or it just had an identity. And I don't know if it was much more than that in the article, but as we read that, Derek said, hey, what do you think about calling ourselves the Bruderhof and creating an identity and seeing what happens?
I mean, Bruder time was such a like, I would call it like a sacred time. It was so interesting because it was just this time where everybody would get together just to hang out and eat food. But what it became was like this time in the week where everybody would be on the floor and be able to check in with one another. There's no other time during the week where everybody was there. But it wasn't like a requirement, but it was made to be this like really important thing. And so if somebody wasn't at Bruder time and they like came in, halfway through, people would be like, where were you? Why weren't you here? Or if you missed it altogether, people would give you a really hard time about it. And so it became this really awesome time of just like being able to come together as a floor, be together, check in on how each other were doing, how our lives were going. And so I just remember that being like a really influential time.
The alarm. So the alarm started last year, as Doug would know from last year. And my best friend Matt Brown was the alarm. And the alarm is every Thursday night we have this thing called Bruder time where we all meet in the lounge and we either share a testimony or do something else. And to like get everyone's attention that it's Bruder time, he would run down the hall screaming at the top of his lungs. And at some point at the beginning of this year, Clark RA heard me scream and he said, Hunter, I think I want you to be our alarm. So that's what I do every Thursday night. I run down and sometimes I get a text from one of the girls right upstairs and be like, oh, okay, it's Bruder time.
I think the most significant part of this experience to me has been our Bruder times. So it's when we get together and someone gets to share their testimony and be completely honest and share pretty much everything about their life. And obviously you're not forced, but this time of testimony is really pretty key into seeing why people act the way they are. And so I know that's been a huge way that I've gotten to know a lot of my Bruders, my brothers, better. And also it kind of allows there to be a lot of grace when you see that these guys that you met within the year and they're struggling with the same stuff that you're struggling with. And so there's just this sense of camaraderie and lifting each other up and encouraging, which is cool.
Even if you're a reserved person, I think everyone's so friendly and outgoing that it's basically impossible not to develop friendships. Even if you're reserved, the guys on the floor will take you out of your comfort zone and make you become friends with them, even if it's against your own will, and you will not regret it. So you can definitely look forward to your RA, because Aston's he's one of my best friends, and he's just an amazing person. He's just loving, caring, and he's always open to listen to you, and he'll always ask you how your day's going, and he's always there to pray for you.
Ooh, there's gonna be a lot that I'm gonna miss. This will be different for me, especially because my entire college career, I've only ever known Bruderhof. I came in last year, being the fall of 2014, excuse me, as some little freshman who didn't know anyone on campus, and then I was immediately initiated into a group called Bruderhof. I didn't know what it meant at all until maybe a few weeks into it, and I realized this is something special. This is cool. Like, even though I don't really feel that close with all these guys, I know we have some sort of bond. And this isn't just a one-off thing. This is a thing that goes on in history.
I'm gonna miss living day to day with them. Living in community in general is just pretty awesome, but especially with this group of guys. It's fun to go from, serious times of prayer and talking and serious conversations to playing hallway sports. We're not supposed to do that. Or, doing laundry, or just hanging out, watching the show, or whatever. So I'm gonna miss the day-to-day.
I like to tell some of the guys on this floor this year that you could talk to anyone and be like, oh yeah, I'm a Bruder, and then maybe you're talking to a senior, like, I was a Bruder too. Like, that's an instant bond, and I think that's so cool. Like, it really has a presence around campus, and I think I'm gonna miss that, especially knowing that with this year especially, that I think Josh or whoever else may have said it, you can honestly just walk into anyone's room and feel welcomed.
We get all the hot babes, and we win a lot of competitions, except for Deck the Halls, which is unacceptable. But all seriousness aside, I think that Bruderhof is a model for res life in general, but also community as a whole here at Messiah. Just the nature of who we are and the tradition that we have really fosters a larger community other than just the floor, which is a pretty special thing.